What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Back with another live stream. Happy Friday, people. We're back again. The weekend is among us, and Arsenal are back in action tomorrow, people. Away to Bournemouth, 3 p.m. kickoff. Make sure you're locked in tomorrow. We'll be live for the watch along from 2 p.m. Looking forward to the game. Hopefully, we go 3-point collecting. It's a must-win game, in my opinion. And listen, if we've got any aspirations whatsoever of even challenging for the Premier League, then you've got to go and beat Bournemouth away from home. It's Friday, then it's Saturday, Sunday. Come on, Arsenal, we're back, people. Lots to talk about today as Arsenal plunge into an injury crisis. What is going on at Arsenal this season? We get back in the Champions League, and all of a sudden, they're dropping like flies, people. We see the team line up against Brentford in the Carabao Cup. I'm thinking that Saliba and Fabio Vieira have been rested. It turns out those two are out injured as well. Not a major injury, both out with a knock. Will those two be available for the weekend? Arsenal at the moment are in the deep depths, people. You might see Cedric, El Neni and these men getting game time. It is absolutely crazy what is going on. That's what happens when you train on a car park, people. But it is what it is. Yeah, Anelka's on the background. I always say, still one of my favourite ever Arsenal strikers. Massively underrated. LB said, I can't be singing with you today. Hey, listen, I'm sure we'll sing something, people. Don't worry. C-Unit, the medical team need to be investigated. How many more injuries? I mean, crazy. The breaking news at the moment that I've just seen is that Lisandro Martinez is out for 10 weeks for Manchester United. So is it an Arsenal problem? Is it a football problem? Is this because the World Cup was mid-season? Did the players not get enough of a break in the summer? De Bruyne's out, John Stones has been out. Wan-Bissaka, Lisandro are out. We've got players dropping like flies. I don't understand what is going on. Is it the World Cup? I don't know, people. And they'll call Omri. Omri above anybody. Omri's the Arsenal GOAT for me. Reguilon's out apparently as well. Yeah, players are all dropping like flies at the moment. United do have our old team doctor, so maybe it's his fault. Maybe it's him causing all the problems. Cliffo said, low-key, I think the World Cup had an impact. And to be honest, I think they don't get enough time off. Travelling all over the world pre-season takes its toll. I agree. I don't think they get enough time off. A lot of the players got 3 weeks off in the summer. You play a 50-game season when you account the league and the cup competitions. International breaks in between. You play a World Cup in the winter. They had 2 international games at the end of the season, 3 weeks off, and then you're back in for the season or pre-season. And then you're traveling to America, Australia, wherever for pre-season. I'm not surprised that there are injuries. Play win instead. We might have to play win as well. Real Madrid are losing key players every day through injury. Anyway, people, let's get into today's show. Big up everyone locked in. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, all of that good stuff. The numbers are continuing to grow. Thank you to everyone who's voted for the Football Content Awards. That link is in the description again if you haven't already. And let's break it down. Or the Arsenal above all said, Big C, you had me in my feelings yesterday with the Kai Space Raiders 10p mix juice box chat. Good old days as a kid and madness are gone with the youth today. R.I.P. Elliot. Oh, man, what is going on with the youth of today, man? I mean, I don't want to go off topic too much, but it's difficult to explain, isn't it, really? And I don't want to delve into it too much because I could be talking about it for hours, but I know as you get older, when I was young, the elders used to say it wasn't like this in our day. And I used to think that's some old people talk, man. What are you talking about? But now I'm saying that to today's generation. It wasn't like this in our day. I used to play out all day, morning till night, till it was dark. No problem. There wasn't them kind of problems on the streets. Now, kids are knifing each other up and social media brainwashing the youths of today, man. I don't know what's going on. I'm actually glad that I'm not a child in today's generation because I don't know. It's different. It's totally different. I'm glad I grew up with dial-up internet, MSN Messenger, Nokia 3310s, and some discipline, by the way. But listen, times have changed, and maybe we got to get with the times, man. But the world, man, some of the stuff is mad. And I get it. Things were still happening when I was younger as well. It's not like it was just, all roses. But, these kids, man, knifing each other up and that, it's crazy, man. It really is. Stay safe out there, people. And if you got kids, man, try and teach them the right way. That's all I can say. Social media, man, it's a gift and a curse at the same time. But anyway, let's get into the show. I don't want to make it all doom and gloom, but definitely have to mention that as you put it in the comments, Arsenal above all. Big up yourself. Big up everyone locked in. Let's get into today's show. I tell you what, if you're bored this weekend, knocking around, maybe a bit of shopping, cleaning up the house, you're a bit bored, go down to Bournemouth with your boots and your pads. You might get a start on the bench for Arsenal. This is currently Arsenal's injured 9. This is our injured 9 at the moment. Timber, we know, probably out all season. We may get him back April, May, if we're lucky. Partey's out, Rice is out, Martinelli, Trossard, Saka. Vieira and Saliba added to that list. They were both out with a knock, according to the manager. What is a knock? Somebody said in the comments, what is a knock? Who knows? I always consider a knock to be, a kick, bruising, something minor that you should be able to get over in a few days. It is Nelly and Kelly. I feel, do I sing it? No matter what I do, all I think. Let me not do it. It's, it's late in the week. I've sang a lot this week. But anyway, I mean, that is a very strong team, by the way. All we need is one more centre-back and a left-back and a keeper, and we're there. 8 of our starting 11 are injured. That might be a better team almost than the team that starts for Arsenal tomorrow. Now, a knock... I mean, Ash, you're spot on. Last time Saliba had a knock, he was out for 3 months. Oh, we'll assess him for the weekend. It's a slight knock to his back. We never seen him for the rest of that season, and we know how that title challenge disappeared. Now, Partey won't be back this weekend. He's not back yet. And Timber, we know, is definitely out. I would like to think Saliba and Vieira would be back. A knock, a bit of bruising, get some ice on it, and keep it moving. You're back, you're available, you're playing. The keys are Declan Rice, Saka, and one of Trossard or Martinelli. We need one of those back. I heard yesterday that one of Martinelli or Trossard was likely to be back. And they were hoping Saka and Rice would be back. So it's going to be difficult when I do the create 11 formation at the end of this and we try and pick our team, because who knows who's going to be playing. That team is a very good team, which is a bad thing. Why have we got these injury problems? We've been having this for years. This has been happening since Arsene Wenger. Jack Wilshere, one of the best youngsters in Europe. The new Paul Gascoigne. Injury, career finished. Abu Diaby, the new Patrick Vieira, injuries done. Thomas Rosicky, Mozart, brilliant on the ball, unbelievable player. Injuries, lock him off, finished. And now, Thomas Partey, hardly misses a game for 3 years in Spain. Comes to the Prem, injured every minute, sick note. Declan Rice, missed 3 games in 2 seasons at West Ham, injured. Back smashed up already. I mean, Eduardo's different. That brother, broke his leg. That was different. I'm telling you now, and I'm going along with Latte, there's something wrong with that training ground. I'm telling you now. And some people think, your conspiracy theory. I've heard players say it. I've heard coaches say it. It's meant to be factual. The ground was built on a training ground. The ground was built on a car park. So you put it's rock hard. It is rock hard. England don't train there anymore. For that reason. And the medical staff have to be brought into question, man. What's going on with the medical staff? Do these guys not recognise when a player's injured? I mean, there's one player on this list that I have to blame on the manager, and that's Bukayo Saka. That's Bukayo Saka. Stevie Wonder could see that Bukayo Saka needs a rest. Stevie Wonder could see that. Ran him into the ground, and it was only a matter of time. We're actually lucky it's a minor injury, because I've said it many times, that Achilles is a big, big problem. They need to make sure Saka is looked after better. I was so happy that Reece Nelson had a good game the other night, because I want the manager to trust Reece Nelson a little bit more. Trust him. Why give him a... If I was the owner, I'd be saying, brother, you give this guy £100,000 a week and you won't bring him on for 15 minutes at the end of the game when Saka looks like he can't walk. What is going on? Trust him. Give him game time. Should we have bought a right winger? If you don't think Reece is good enough, you should have bought a right winger. You know, but listen, it's interesting. Like I said, it's not just an Arsenal problem. Breaking news at the moment is Lisandro Martinez is out injured for the next 10 weeks for Manchester United. So there are a lot of players getting injured. Is it the World Cup? Is there too many games? I don't know what the problem is. We had an ability to address that right wing issue in the market. Like you said, Diaby, we tried to sign him in January, and Leverkusen asked for 100 million euros. He goes Aston Villa for 38 million pounds. So why did we not buy him for nearly a third of the price that we wanted him for? It doesn't make sense. And obviously Kudus as well, we could have got this. So it's worrying. It is worrying. We're going to go into press conference reaction shortly. And obviously, hopefully, some of these players will be available tomorrow, because tomorrow is a must-win game. I think we'll all be relaxed about tomorrow in terms of we will all feel like Arsenal should win that game. But these are the games where things can go wrong and seasons can unravel. So we've definitely got to be careful. Gunnar Graham said we wasted that money on Havertz. Kudus for 42 million, exactly. Maybe when he's biting them all, stuck Prime in his water bowl. He let Pepe go for nothing. Could you have kept Pepe for the season as a backup player? You know, I did mention that, but he was never going to do it. Damn, so that means Maguire and Evans are going to be there for a while. Yeah, because you know Varane always gets injured. So Maguire will say, you know, I'm going to get some game time. Static said, Curtis, we have horrendous negotiators. Aston Villa got great deals for Diaby and Pau Torres. Both players previously linked to Arsenal. Yeah, 100%. MOA, Curtis, this training ground issue needs to be looked at. It sounds like beggars belief how this hasn't been addressed yet. How do they fix it? Maybe they'll have to move training ground, which costs millions and millions of pounds. Diaby won't come to sit on the bench. Big C, you were a player yourself. Think about it. Listen, big clubs sign big players, right? And you sell it to them in the right way. Now, your point there is that Diaby wouldn't come to Arsenal because Saka's the right winger, which would mean he would be on the bench. My question for you would be, why did Doku go to Manchester City if Jack Grealish was there? Why did Anthony go to Man United if Rashford's there and if Jadon Sancho's there? Or, you know, why did Gakpo go to Liverpool if Darwin Núñez was there? Players will still go to these clubs. Why did Gravenberch go to Liverpool? These guys will go to big clubs even with competition. You don't say to Diaby, right, we've got Saka on the right wing. He's going to play every game and you'll get 15 minutes at the end if he's knackered. You'll go to Diaby, listen, Saka's the right winger. You compete with him. We're going to play 50-plus games this season in all comps. We'll rotate. You could even go on the left. He's played left wing as well. I think if Arsenal went in for Diaby, he would have come to Arsenal ahead of going to Aston Villa, regardless whether they are guaranteeing him more football. Why has David Raya come to Arsenal? Spot on with that. It's a lot different. I know what you're saying because Saka is almost nailed on in that position. But still, big clubs, you know, you get top quality players in. Why did Alvarez go to Man City with Haaland there? You know, Timber came to Arsenal with Ben White, certified right back, Zinchenko left back, Gabriel and Saliba. You fight for your place. You back yourself. Say, okay, he's good, but I can get him out of the team. So I don't buy into that. I understand your point, but I don't buy into it. If Arsenal went in for Diaby, agreed that deal with Leverkusen, they should have been able to negotiate that move easily. Omid said Brahim Diaz is a baller who signed for Madrid, knowing that he will hold bench for Rodrigo, Vinny and Valverde. You tell the player who will play and he needs to compete. Exactly. Players get injured, players get tired, and you also got to back yourself that you can be better. So anyway, even Jude Bellingham going Madrid. Look at the competition. Tchouaméni, Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, Valverde, Camavinga. Backed himself. Went there. Look at him now doing the iconic celebrations. So Diaby would have come to Arsenal if we went in for him, in my opinion. Szoboszlai is a baller. Listen, we were linked with him 2 years ago. He looks absolutely fantastic. It's painful because you look at Szoboszlai, you look at James Maddison, and you're like, they play in pretty much the same position where Havertz is playing. I actually watched a video the other day of Havertz at Leverkusen. I had to try and do something, and I could not believe how good he was at one stage. I couldn't believe it. I literally watched it and said, is this guy the same player that I'm looking at in an Arsenal shirt? It was unbelievable how good he was when he was in Germany. Now, was it Bundesliga tax? Was it Bundesliga tax? I don't know. Maybe it was. It probably was, because we've never seen that player in the Premier League. We never even saw that player at Chelsea. But I could not believe it. The video is honestly worth watching, right? It was called Black. Honestly, I had to try and find a positive. It's this one. It's called "This Is Why 20-Year-Old Havertz is So Special." Go and watch that video. After this video, don't leave the stream now. It's not that good. But listen, watch the stream. Watch this. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it was the same player. But, you know, Premier League is a lot different to the Bundesliga. You go and put Jadon Sancho in the Bundesliga, he looks like one of the best wingers in world football. You put him in the Premier League, you know, it looks like he can't play football. You know, he's moving like a roadman. So yeah, but I had to do it to try and find a positive. Like, was this guy ever good at football? Like, I watched a vid. Rowan, I genuinely watched a vid to try and create some hope. I was like, was this guy ever play football or what? Crazy, absolutely crazy. He's lost his space. Someone's invaded his space, you know. Everyone looks good on YouTube, you're right. Even Sonogo looked good on YouTube when we signed him. And we all know how that one turned out. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting watch. Little bit of transfer news today, not much. This man, Victor Osimhen, I think between now and the end of January, you're going to see consistent Arsenal striker links all the time. Osimhen, of course, is going for a situation with his club. Do I think he'll leave in January? I doubt it. Do I think we'll get him if he did leave in January? I doubt that as well. So, but you know, he's being linked. Daily Mirror today saying that Arsenal are keeping an eye on him. I mean, listen, when I was younger, I kept an eye on Christina Milian, but, you know, it never happened, did it? So, you know, you can keep an eye on who you want to keep an eye on. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. So, Arsenal are keeping an eye on him, whatever that means. I've got absolutely no faith that Arsenal can get Osimhen. That's why, if anybody watched my video the other day, the pre-recorded video that I put out on Wednesday, I said that Arsenal should get Ivan Toney. Because I don't believe Arsenal will get Osimhen. If Arsenal let Toney go elsewhere to get Osimhen and then miss out on him, you have absolutely messed up. Is there anybody realistically in this community that thinks Edu goes to Napoli and comes back with Victor Osimhen for 130 million? Because I don't. And I met Edu a few times in America, and he's a cool guy. But Edu, you know, with all due respect, didn't he fly out to sign Mudryk? He came back with Kivior. Do you know what I mean? It don't really add up. So, yeah, the Christina Milian, I see you in the comments, people. It was, you know, back in the day, it was serious. But anyway, let's not go off topic. Yeah, if he'll fly to Naples, he won't come back with Osimhen. He'll sign the wrong player. He'll sign someone else. So that's why I said just get Ivan Toney done. He's the most difficult sporting director to deal with. It's like pay the price or do one. It's mafia town over there. They'll kidnap Edu, take him up to the hills. It'll be like an episode of Goodfellas, Jimmy Conway. You know, you can't mess about with them, man. There, he'll go there and sign some 17-year-old young player from their reserves or something. They'll take him up to the hills. He won't come back. Just go to Brentford. It's in a nice part of London. Get Ivan Toney. It's light work. You get that deal done easy. Maybe you can throw them a player in there as well. But the Mirror trying to say, you know, we're keeping an eye on Osimhen. Good luck with that one, people. Somebody just said in the comments, where is that comment? I need to go back for it. Somebody said Arsenal should sign Mbappe. I mean, first of all, I asked that question and got hammered for it in America. But second of all, come on. We ain't getting Kylian Mbappe. We might get Mbappe's younger brother who plays for PSG. We ain't getting Kylian Mbappe, that's for sure. Big up Juice Sauce. He said, Tony is Prem proven. Serie A Donnies tend not to do so well. I'd take Tony. I think Osimhen, at this moment in time, I think he's better than Ivan Toney. I'll be honest. But you've always got to have that accountability factor that Lukaku scored 20-plus goals in Italy a couple of years ago. Nobody would want a Lukaku right now in the Prem. Tammy Abraham got close to 20 goals over there, and I don't rate Tammy at all. I've always said that. There are a lot of players who bang goals in Italy. They come to the Prem and they struggle. Get Tony, 60, 70 mil, straight in, hungry to prove himself. And a much easier deal to negotiate. And it'll be easier for Edu to work out as well. To be fair, Edu got brought home the right one in Kivior and let Chelsea get the wrong one. I don't know with that one, you know. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be totally honest and say that I still believe, we still believe it's coming. No, I'm joking. I just remember they said that at the start of the song, so I started singing. No, I genuinely still believe that Mudryk is a talent. And a lot of people won't. A lot of people have just wrote him off. He's rubbish. I actually still think there's a good player in Mudryk. I think Mudryk, I'm convinced, would have done well at Arsenal. He's so quick, so direct. With our style of play, Zinchenko's his national team captain. He wanted to play for us. He's at a club he doesn't want to play for. His manager's changed twice. Potter signed him, Lampard came in, Poch came in. Poch doesn't play him. I genuinely think he's a decent player. I genuinely do. Trossard is fantastic though, but I do think Mudryk would have done well at Arsenal. Big C, I'm going to have to check the Dip It Low video. Hey, relax people, it's Friday. Calm down, you know. Car Park Neymar would have thrived on the Coney pitch. Exactly, he played in Asda Car Parks. It'd be perfect for him, no injuries or anything. Bleck said, Edu is keeping an eye via Hotmail. Yeah, man, I don't know what you think. Yeah, keeping an eye on Osimhen. Good luck with that one. Let's have a look ahead to the game tomorrow, people. Big game for Arsenal. Not on paper. It's a game that on paper you should be ticking off and saying, thank you very much. 3 points, day out on the seaside. Bournemouth Beach. One of the best beaches in England, by the way. Not that they're that great, to be honest. We go to Bournemouth tomorrow. And I'm sorry, but if you can't beat these, then I will not talk about Manchester City for the rest of the season. Because they've played 6, they've won none, they've drawn 3, they've lost 3. They've scored 5 goals in 6 games. They're not even scoring a goal a game. They've conceded 11. They're on -6. They're on 3 points, and they are poor. They've got a manager that's figuring out the league. If we can't beat them, forget it. Write it off, lock it off. I'll see you in pre-season 2024 US tour. Lock it off. The title's a wrap. I mean, the title looks wrapped up anyway. I'm going to keep it 100, but at least we're in the mix. You know, it's like Johan Blake. You're second in the 100-meter race and Bolt is striding away from you, but there's always that hope he trips over or pulls his hamstring and then you win the gold. Right now, we're Johan Blake FC. Anything can happen, but it's not likely to happen. In fact, Liverpool are looking more like Johan Blake right now. We're moving like Asafa Pau in lane 6. So we'll have to see. But listen, Bournemouth, man, They're not looking great. They're not. They play decent football. I'm actually looking. I might be being a little bit greedy here. I'm looking for a beatdown tomorrow. I'm looking for a beatdown. I'm looking for a 3-0, 4-0 here. I'm looking for goals. Depending on who's available and who's in the team, I'm looking for a beatdown tomorrow. We should be going here and rolling these lot. I mean, they're down there with Chelsea and them teams. African Giant, I see you in the comments. If they beat us tomorrow, they could go above you. Bournemouths, your Chelseas, your Lutons, them bottom half of the table teams. You got to be beaten. If you can't, then I don't know. I don't know where you go from there. They are not good. But listen, they aren't bad at home, and they do play on the front foot. I mean, looking at their results, they won in midweek against Stoke in the Carabao. They drew with Chelsea. They drew with Brentford. They lost to Brighton. I mean, you've got to be turning them over. They lost 2-0 at home to Tottenham. They're not great. But then their home form's not terrible. They got a draw. Listen. If we can't beat them, there's a serious problem. Serious problem. If you got any aspirations for winning the league, that is. African Giant said, you just wait till he eats some Niger jollof. He needs something, Mudryk, I can't lie. Big up African Giant. Simon said, I don't disagree about Mudryk, but he ain't no 88 million player. 100%. He was massively overpriced. He should have cost 40, 50 mil at the most. Ricky said Osimhen would want to go to Real Madrid or Bayern in 2 or 3 years. Tony will give 5 or 6 years as he's English. I hear you on that. I hear you. Southern Guna said we need to get that goal differential sorted out tomorrow. 100%. And in a lot of these games, I've been saying we should have battered that team, and we haven't. And it hasn't quite happened for us. Wasim said, don't jinx it. The last time you predicted an all-you-can-eat buffet, we drew at home to Southampton, writing off our title challengers. I hear you. But listen, man, I've got to keep the faith. Because we got to have faith. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know the rest of the words, but I know that. When I say things, songs just pop in my head and I have to run with it. Just go with it, people. You know, if you know the words, just sing along. Sing along TV, people. But listen, 4 wins for Arsenal, 2 draws. It's not bad considering. It's a... I don't want to say... I think since that Tottenham draw, it felt like a bit of a mini crisis. And some people saying we're going over the top. What I said is that, look, it's not good to go over the top. But the good thing is that the demand is higher now. And we know that this Manchester City machine, they're not messing around, people. Man City have conceded 3 goals in 6 games. 3 goals in 6 games. They've scored 16. They're the second top scorers in the league, and they've got the best defence in the league. 6 wins out of 6. No messing around. The standard is so high. Even a draw against Tottenham, even a draw against Fulham. 4 or 5 of them results, and you've got no chance. You're done already. So that's how high the standards are, people. You look at Liverpool, 5 wins out of 6, 1 draw. They've been to Newcastle away. They've been to Stamford Bridge. They've had a more difficult, start to the season than we have, really, because we've had 2 home games against Tottenham and Man United. They've been away against 2 of last season's, big clubs. So it's difficult. I know Man City you can't always go off what they do, but if we've got aspirations of winning the league, we've got to compare ourselves to what they're doing. So it is what it is. Tomorrow, I am confident we'll win. I'm going to be honest. I think we'll have too much. But it depends who's back from injury. It depends who's back. Masterson said, as long as we have Stan Kroenke as owner, we won't win the league. I mean, listen, I don't really... I'm still not fully convinced, but he did spend 210 million in the summer. So a lot of that has got to start coming down to the manager. And the guy, and Edu, who's negotiating the deals. Jamal said, I'm not confident at all. Is this Arteta's last season if he doesn't do anything? If he doesn't do anything, then I think it should be. But the big question, Sebedy, is what do you class as not doing anything? if he gets top four and doesn't win anything, do you keep him? If he gets top four and wins a trophy, is that enough? If he doesn't get top four, what is the benchmark for keeping him? What is satisfactory to say you go another year? That would be my question. Now, everybody has a different answer to that. I've seen some people saying, I don't care if he gets top four. If he doesn't win a trophy, I want him gone. Some people are saying, well, if he gets Champions League again, he earns himself another season to go again. So it all depends what you consider the minimum for Mikel Arteta to do. There's context. If you push Manchester City all the way and you fall over with 5 games to go and finish second, you would consider that unlucky. You weren't quite good enough. If you finish 15 points behind Man City and we're nowhere near them, again, so it's all about context. It's all about context. And it's a good point, Desiree. I mean, fans wanted Wenger out for getting top 4. People protested Wenger out for getting top 4. Now, I know Man City weren't around at the time, so it's different. Well, Man City were around, actually, under Wenger. Not so much Pep. Listen, it depends what your minimum is. My mindset is the same as this. For me, the minimum expectation this year is top 4 and a trophy. That's what I expect Arsenal to do this season. I know there's no God-given right to win a trophy considering Man City are around. I look at that Carabao Cup the other day. Aston Villa knocked out. Manchester City knocked out. Palace knocked out. Arsenal got to be going and trying to win at least the Carabao Cup. Now, yeah, of course, I want Arsenal to win the Champions League. I want Arsenal to win the Premier League. But I'm also honest and I'm also a realist. I don't think we're going to win the Premier League this season. I don't. And the reason I don't think we're going to win the Premier League is because I don't think we strengthened our squad enough from last season. We spent £210 million, but I don't think we did enough. I don't think Havertz is going to impact this team enough. Timber injury is a massive loss. I think Declan Rice a good signing. I think we needed a striker, possibly a right winger, and possibly another centre mid. So I don't think we did enough to bridge that gap on Man City. Champions League is wide open. You never know if City and a few others, but do we have the experience? And he struggled in Europe in the past. So the domestic cups look like the best opportunity, but we'll see. Kush said, who would you pick to replace Arteta if he's sacked? I mean, listen, that's the golden question. Could you get Mancini? Could you get Ancelotti? Could you get De Zerbi? There's managers out there. There is managers out there that you could get that I think are very good. It depends what scale you want. Would you go for an older manager? Would you go for a younger, more progressive manager? But there are good managers available. Fitz in the building said the benchmark is the title. That's progress from last season. And I hear you. You finish second, you spend 210 million. Your aim should be number 1 to win the league. I've also got to be a little bit realistic and say our 200 million Manchester City spent pretty much 200 million. They signed Doku, they signed Kovacic, they signed Vardio. They've basically spent 200 million as well. So does our 200 million actually put us ahead of Man City when they spent 200 million? So it's difficult. Zidane as well. Zidane is one that I would look at. I know he said before he doesn't want to manage in England, but I'd take Zizou. Bleck said top 4, FA Cup, Cardboard Cup, and a good Champions League run. Yeah, I'd take that. I mean, I wouldn't be singing from the rooftops, but football's about winning trophies. There's 4 that we can win. At least try and win one of them. Try and win all of them, but go and win one of them. Richard said, we cannot spend 200 million to get the same outcome as last season. Arteta is our Brendan Rodgers. I mean, a lot of people have said that. And time will tell. Akeem said, yeah, but Man City had to replace players that left. Arsenal didn't. And that's a great point as well, bro. Like, they lost Mahrez, they lost Gundogan. So they lost real quality. You could argue in some areas they've downgraded because Gundogan is better than Kovacic in terms of goal output, especially. Mahrez is probably better than Doku, just a different kind of player. Vardiol, I think, is better than Laporte. But they've had to replace. Who've we had to replace? Granit Xhaka. We wanted Xhaka out for 5 years anyway. So we were just building upon a base that we already had. The problem is we don't look significantly better than last season because of the signings that we've made. Rice is good. Timber's good. But Timber's injured. And Havertz hasn't influenced us. And Raya is getting rotated. So if you put Szoboszlai, you put Maddison in that attacking midfield role. If you'd got Ivan Toney or you'd got Diaby and you got another midfielder, you know, maybe we'd look different. But let's see. Let's see. Only time will tell, I suppose. And E. Ross said, Curtis, what is it going to take? $1 billion for Arteta to win the FA Cup again? Listen, bro, I'm with you. I'm in a minority in that I'm still not singing and dancing about this manager. I'm not. I give him his flowers. You've improved the club, definitely. Better connection to the fans. Good style of football. Young players committing to long-term contracts. Some quality signings. But I'm also looking at it going, you've been at the club 4 years. You've spent 650 million. You've won one FA Cup and got top four once. You know, Ten Hag got top four and won a trophy in one season. And I don't even really rate Ten Hag. Conte got top four in one season. You know, I think he can do more. I think he needs to do more. He's going to probably spend another 50, 60, 100 million in January. He'll spend another 200 million next summer. Then we're talking about 800, 900 million. At what point do we say, hang on a minute, an FA Cup and a top four qualification, I need more than that. I need more than that. So we'll see. Jurgen Klopp has managed to win the Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the World Club Cup. He's won all of that around Pep Guardiola. Do you know what I mean? So, and I know Arteta's not what Klopp is, but if he can't do that, then we should get a bigger manager. That is what my opinion is. If he achieves something great this season, you continue. If he doesn't, and you feel there's a manager out there that can do better, you should be open-minded to looking elsewhere if you don't feel he can deliver. That is what I'm saying. At least there ain't $1 billion loss like Chelsea. Patrick Vieira would be... I don't think Vieira would get the job. He struggled at Palace. Anyway, let's get into press conference reaction. Monty said, you've got an agenda. You've always wanted him out. That's what they tell me on Twitter. You've always wanted him out. Just admit it. I didn't. I backed him. He's a former Arsenal player. I'm backing him now. He's had green screens. Anyway, let's get into press conference reaction with the man himself, Mickey Rose, the boss. Rose! Co-man music. We're down on the South Coast this weekend, people, as we go to Bournemouth. I think it's the second or the first smallest ground in the league. Bournemouth and Luton. It's a good atmosphere. I've been to Bournemouth before. It's a nice place as well. Very nice place. And it will... let's hope the Arsenal fans can have a good weekend down there. Go 3-point collecting. Obviously, Liverpool play Tottenham this weekend. That is the big game of the weekend outside of Arsenal. In terms of, you know, two of the sides that have started well going head-to-head. That's on Sunday. I might do a watch-along for that, actually. But like I said, man, Arsenal have got to get 3 points. Have to. There is no excuse. If you're playing Burnley, Luton, Sheffield United, Bournemouth, any of those teams right now, you have got to be beating them. And I'm hoping that we put in a decent performance. But at the moment, goals are something that we've been struggling by. Is that the Saturday night game? Oh, okay. I actually didn't know that. Well, if we're in a good mood and we've won, then maybe we'll go ahead to that. If we've lost or drawn, I won't be watching any football for the rest of the weekend. So the Arsenal game will maybe dictate that next watch-along. But let's get into what he's saying. Mikel Arteta. On the fitness of Declan Rice, Gabriel Martinelli, Leandro Trossard and Bukayo Saka. He said Declan wasn't available, had to leave the London derby. He hasn't trained yet. We have another session in an hour or two. This press conference was 9:30 this morning, so they were training this morning. We'll have more news about him today. Gabriel Martinelli hasn't trained. We want him back. We need him back. But at the moment, he's not been available. Leandro, same situation. Bukayo, same situation. I would imagine Arsenal will not release training photos from today because I don't think Arteta will want Bournemouth to know who trained and who hasn't. He will want it to be a bit of a mystery of who's playing. How many of these players are coming back? Surely one or two of these guys are available. I mean, apparently Declan Rice had some sort of spasm in his lower back, which you would like to think with a week's rest and some good, massage and them things there, he would have sorted that out. And like I said yesterday, I was hearing that one of Martinelli or Trossard would probably be available. But we'll see whether that's the case. We need some of these back. It's a massive 9 days for Arsenal. We got Bournemouth away tomorrow. Important game. We play Lens on Tuesday away in the Champions League, which won't be easy as well. And we play Manchester City next weekend, which is one of the biggest games of the season. So it's whether the manager feels like he wants to risk them. But we need some of these guys back. On when the judgment will be made on Bukayo Saka, he said the assessment is okay. Is he fit enough and good enough to be able to be selected tomorrow? That's the question mark. And so far, he hasn't trained with the team. Let's hope some of these players train today. On whether some of those are nearer than others, he said they're all in the same pool. William as well had a knock. Fabio as well wasn't involved in the last game. We have to assess them today, see how they are and adapt to the situation because that's a big number. It is crazy the amount of players that are out injured. Absolutely unreal. Chill Dude said, El Neni, Jorginho, Cedric, laughable squad. Do you know what? I put out a tweet. As you won't be surprised to know. I put out a tweet on Wednesday night saying it's 2023. We're finishing the game with a double pivot of Jorginho and El Neni and an attack of Havertz and Nketiah with Cedric Suarez at fullback. And some guy was in the comments going, we've got injuries. What do you expect? I said, well, people were giving this window 8s and 9s out of 10 and saying we had unbelievable squad depth. So even with 5 injuries, I don't expect to see El Neni and Cedric Suarez on the pitch. If you injure 5 players at Man City now, you'll still probably have Calvin Phillips, Foden, Alvarez, do you know what I mean? Vardiol, Akanji. You ain't seeing Mohamed El Neni and Cedric the Entertainer from Def Comedy Jam at right back. That is for sure. So that's why I throw these grenades out there, people. I really do. And he was going, you'll do anything for clicks. Somebody else said that. You'll do anything for clicks. I said, well, what? I'll do anything for clicks. What do them clicks get me, mate? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm stating a fact. It's 2023. I'm still seeing El Neni in a double pivot. Is that not factual? I don't know. Twitter ain't for everyone, people. That's why I just throw grenades on there and turn it off. And, But anyway, on if Saka wants to keep his consecutive run of Premier League games going, he said, well, that would mean he's feeling good, B has got now enough experience. We're calling him B. Yo, what up, B? What's good, B? I'm out here. B has now got enough experience and understanding of when he's ready to help the team and when he's not. That's what all the managers want to hear, that they want to play and they are feeling good. That's the most important thing. On if the keeper that starts will have a surname beginning with R. Oh, dear me. I mean, listen. I mean, I don't mind that. It's a little bit... He dropped a little bit of comedy on a Friday morning. By the way, Elliot says, Nyamming waffles, sipping syrup, ordering 3 points, cherries and waffles, please, with that Coleman music. I mean, listen, I took some criticism for asking the Mbappe question in America. I blame the humidity in New York, but it was worth asking. But I ain't asking questions like this. Mikel, so, will the keeper that starts the game, will his name begin with an R? I mean, what are we playing here? Family Fortunes or, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Man said, that's right, and you've won a special prize. You and, what the hell is this? He's not going to play Cole Hine in goal, is he? It's Ramsdale or it's Rayo. He said, you are a genius. I have my answer for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for your cooperation. I mean, fair enough. I didn't see how he asked the question. I'm sure there was an element of laughter in there. In, a little journalist joke. Information and entertainment. Although it's not that funny. But he tried a thing. I respect it. On his first game as manager being against Bournemouth, he said, obviously, there's been a lot of changes. It's been a while, 3.5 years, almost 4, since that moment. A special one. A lot of things have changed, many of them positive. I'm loving the journey. On Adoni Areola, I think that's the manager of Bournemouth, said, we know each other well. We played together. We had fantastic times. We played in Antiguoco. It's a team in San Sebastian, produced a lot of players. All right, we'll save that for This Is Your Life, people. Put that in your autobiography. On why many coaches come from the Basque region, he said, you have to see Sociedad, Bilbao, Eibar, all of those teams have fantastic work. On how he compares his team today to the one that won 3-0 at the Vitality last season, very difficult. We want to play the way we did, even better, blah, 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 blah. On if there were 2 world-class goalkeepers fighting for the number 1 spot during his playing career, he says, yes, since I was 13 years old, one in Antiguoco and the other in Barcelona. My 2 goalkeepers in the team were Victor Valdez and Pepe Reina. I mean, let's get one thing clear here. I know we've got good goalkeepers, but world-class, relax. And Valdez, I mean, I thought Valdez was very overrated. Pepe Reina was good at Liverpool. So, yeah, they're trying to imply we've got 2 world-class goalkeepers. But, you know, here's what... Hey, Nimbo, go easy, man. Go easy on me. Phil Billing is decent. Somebody actually put in the comments we should have signed Phil Billing over Havertz. I was chuckling at that one. He's probably playing better than him, though. I can't lie. But, yeah, we don't have a world-class goalkeeper. They need to calm down. On if it inspires him in the way he manages the current situation, he said, I don't know. But I was so safe. I looked back and I had Reina and Valdez. I was like, we have a big chance to win the game. On his biggest challenge in terms of improving the team, he says, playing better every day. Playing better and suffocating the opponent. That's a bit violent. Creating more chances, conceding 0, and play as far as possible from our goal. On the most difficult situation, he said, it's all linked. The opponent has a big say. You face different behaviours. Let's skip it. On being unbeaten in 9 matches in all competition. For sure, and we have to continue to do that. That's the mindset we want to bring every single game. We've had a very different context throughout the season that's going to keep changing. As you can see now, with the amount of situations we have in the team, uncertainty over players, it's going to be more. Playing every 3 days, having to win, having to compete in 3 different competitions in 7 days. That's the challenge, and we're up for it. All big managers have to do it, my friend. Just, you know, you've had that Europa League comfort blanket. This is real now. We're out in the field, man. Champions League, big boy business. You know? On how to instill confidence in the team, he said it's a huge thing. It's individual and collective. Then it's one that's external. Confidence can obviously transmit to each other. He loves that. Playing well and winning matches is always the best thing to do, and we are in a good moment. I'm putting aside his friendship with the Bournemouth manager. What a poor question. He said, I think it's very easy. You're in a winning mode. Compete, get the best out of your team and battle. Before and after is a different story, especially after, but during there is nothing. On if he'll see him after the game. They're loving this. He says, for sure, yes. Here we go. Kai Havertz, finally. I was beginning to think that they were banned from asking questions about him. On Kai Havertz and how to get the best out of him, he said, try to help him as much as possible. Be next to him, give him the tools, give him the confidence, and give him the minutes to exploit his talent. There are so many parts of his game that he's doing exceptionally well. Well, he wins his duels. It's what he does off the ball. You don't see it. We don't need a red stripe in here. He's doing things exceptional, apparently, people. I just can't see him. But anyway, let's carry on. And we know the one that needs to keep improving. There's more than one, bro. But as always, with any player, it's about giving support, especially when you see a player that does what he does every single day. And the way he tries, the way he applies himself. You give them support and more tools. And if they don't perform, it's because of us. So you just give him more tools, people. You know, it's like a plumber coming to your house. There's a leak in the kitchen. You just keep giving him tools. Here, have a screwdriver, have a hammer, have a wrench. Eventually, you'll fix the leak. And if you don't, it's our fault, people. Simple as that. It's 65 million down the drain, but we just support him at this stage. Listen, I tried not to speak about Havertz much on this show, but it was always going to happen that I would speak about him a little bit. He's got to start performing. Like I said, I'm watching videos on YouTube of him at Leverkusen to try and remember that he was a good player at some stage. That's how desperate things are getting. But I'm glad they asked him a question about it. But giving him the tools, there's only so much you can give him. And he says be next to him. You can't stand next to him on the pitch. The guy's got to do it himself at some stage. But we'll see. On if he'll play his way into form, he said yes, he needs to play within the team because the amount of time he's played with these forward players is 3 or 4 times. We're going to have to carry on doing that. We certainly try to give him as much support and confidence as we possibly can because that's going to help him for sure. It needs to. On Tomiyasu being back to his best after playing for Japan, I always say I'm really confident the moment Tommy has consistency, it's going to be a tremendous asset. He can play any position in the back line, any formation. We don't have a player like him. His defending is probably one of the best I've seen in many situations. His principles and the way he applies them and the way he goes into duels. Now he needs a run of games physically. When Tommy is at his best, we're going to have a player who is important. I just wonder. I mean, I spoke about it yesterday. Is that I actually think that low-key, Ben White is a little bit out of form. You just wonder, don't you, if Tomiyasu gets his place back at right back eventually. I actually think Tomiyasu is a very good defender when he's fit. He just hasn't been consistent or available for a while. More tools, the new Havertz inspirational song, out now on Koman Music. Track 6, He Needs More Tools, Mikel Arteta, featuring Kai Havertz. It's the new track, people. Tommy is a centre-back. He did look good at centre-back the other day, I can't lie. On his calmness as a player, especially the way he reads danger, the way he resolves urgent situations. Let's skip it. On his memories of Andoni, who said Mikel was the player above the rest. I will say the same. I think he was better technically than everyone else. They love a question about this Bournemouth manager. On if he spoke to him about the Bournemouth job, he said yes. On if Saliba and Vieira will play tomorrow, he said, let's see how everybody is today. Obviously, they weren't selected for a reason, and we need to assess them again today. On the issues with them, he said they weren't fit enough to be in the squad. I mean, it's not rocket science, is it? They're asking for specifics, Mikel. We knew they weren't fit enough to be in the squad. On if there is hope for the 6 players being fit for Saturday, he said, my hope is that everybody's fit and available. We need them with the amount of games that we already have under the belt in the past 2 weeks and what is coming in the next 7 to 10 days. We need them, so hopefully today we get some good news. On why the injuries have occurred, he said different reasons. Some of them happened in training. Some of them had knocks and small muscular niggles, but the load played a part. Going to the national team, coming back, the load went through the roof. The demands continue to be really high, and the fact that we had 3 or 4 already out meant that they didn't have enough time to recover. Definitely politician and waffle settings. Don't worry, Odeon, you've turned up late. I mean, this guy, yeah, there's pauses all over that, by the way. I mean, loads going through the roof. But listen, let's just leave it there anyway. You know, I've got to keep this PG if possible. Anyway, people, on if that impacts his thinking for Man City next week, he said it's about now. It's about Bournemouth. This is the most important game we have now in the season. That's it. On his 5-phase plan. I don't have time in between games right now to talk about it. The phase that we're in right now is 24 hours to prepare a game in the best possible way to beat Bournemouth. And then we can get into the international break a bit calmer. What phase are we in now? On Reece Nelson finding the rhythm over the past few months. First thing is availability and consistency. You need to be available. Let's skip it. On if his role is an impact player off the bench. He said, no, we have to assume he is a starter as well. We want the team that is more unpredictable and he has the resources to rotate. Everyone has to become a starter. That's what we've noticed. End it, please, before I fall asleep. Sometimes it's painful reading these press conferences. I can't lie, people. What phase are we in? Transmit confidence, loads on the roof, and giving Havertz the tools. If you've just tuned in, that's pretty much the headline of that press conference. It's not worth watching and it ain't worth listening to. More tools than a hardware store. He is a spanner already. Yo, listen, I was trying to be a little bit calmer with Havertz today, but it's not easy, is it? It's definitely not easy. Right, before we round up today's show, let's end it by looking at a potential... Ice Age, you're going mad. Let's look at a potential starting lineup. Phase out, said Matty. Yeah, get him out. No, I'm joking. Well, let's see how the season finishes. What do we turn up with tomorrow? Who's going to be available? First question, who plays in goal? Guess what? His name starts with R. That was the question. The goalkeeper tomorrow, his name's going to start with R. I think David Raya gets the start. He's been signed to be number one. He didn't play that bad against Tottenham that he needs to be dropped. He did still make a great save. His distribution wasn't at its best. I thought Ramsdale played well in midweek, but I don't think he'll play ahead of Raya. I'm going to be honest. I think David Raya will play. I think Ben White will play again, although I don't think he's in very good form at the moment. Man said Ramsdale left wing, inverted goalkeeper. I would... Tomiyasu's only just come back to full fitness, really. So I would probably go with Ben White, but I'm not far away from putting Tomiyasu in the team. Zinchenko at left back. I thought Kivior did okay, but he doesn't look like an actual fullback. Assuming Saliba's fit, it's a knock. You would like to think he'll recover. He scored that brilliant goal against Bournemouth last season in the pink kit where he whipped it in off the bar with his left foot. And then Gabriello, I think, has been excellent for Arsenal since coming back into the team. Now, this is where it starts to get techie. I mean, you're going to play Deckers here. But if he's not fit, then you're stuck with Jorginho. You know, I mean, it even says Jorginho, Chelsea there. I'm going to just assume the best. Let's hope for the best, be prepared for the worst. Deckers. Who do you play in the other two midfield roles? A week ago, against Tottenham, I said I would play Emile Smith-Rowe left attacking centre mid. And 7 days later, I'm saying the same thing. And I tell you why. I think we need to start treating this guy like the player that he is, in my opinion. For me, Fabio Vieira and Havertz have not done enough, in my opinion, to justify that they are better than him. They just haven't. Havertz has done nothing. 8 games, no goal, no assist, hasn't done anything. Fabio Vieira, couple good substitute appearances, and he did well against Everton. But I still don't look at Fabio Vieira and think, wow, you're unbelievable. He's still got a lot more to prove. I'm playing ESR. I don't think he'll start, but I would start him. Genuinely, I would start. It's still on mute. Right, we're back. We're back. Apologies. It went on mute. We should be back, people. Let me know in the comments. Are we back? Are we back? We should be. Right, we're back. People saying we're back. The mic was muted, but it's back now. I don't know why it did that. I would give ESR an opportunity. I would give him an opportunity. I don't think Arteta will pick that, but that's what I would pick. Right attacking mid, skipper, El Capitan. Didn't like his performance last week against Tottenham. I thought he let us down. 40 letters down, got the early yellow card, couldn't press, didn't like the way he played. Yeah, inverted microphone. I did it for Arteta, people. And then the front three, I mean, again, I'm assuming the best. Let's hope you've got Bakayo. Gabriel Jesus has to start. I'm sick of watching Eddie Nketiah play through the middle. Whichever left winger is fit, Trossard or Martinelli, then you play them on the left. Now, if any of these wingers are not available, if Saka and Trossard aren't available, you could actually play Smith-Rowe on the left and play Nelson on the right. That could work as well. In reality, he won't play Smith-Rowe. I think he'll probably go Fabio Vieira. I think he may go Havertz, but I think he'll probably go Fabio Vieira, as long as he's fit. But we'll do well to see that team on the pitch, because how many of them are going to recover? You could play ESR on the left. You could play Nelson on the left. There's plenty of options. I'm comfortable with any of them playing that we will beat Bournemouth. I actually think the biggest problem is if Declan Rice doesn't play. I actually think Declan Rice is the injured player that we need back the most, because if he doesn't play, then you're playing Jorginho as a lone 6. And Bournemouth do have a good bit of movement in that midfield position going forward. So it's very hard for me to guess what the team's going to be. I think Rayo will play. I think that will be the back 4. Odegaard's fit. Gabriel Jesus is fit. All the others, I mean, Nelson's fit, but will he start? All the others it's a flip of the coin whether they're available or not. So who knows? Even if Saka's available but not 100%, do you risk him? I don't know. I think if he's fit enough to play, you'll play him. Imran said, what about El Neni? I just don't think he'll play him ahead of Jorginho. He likes Jorginho. I'm still not sure why, but Jorginho played all right against Brentford, if I'm being real. We know against Tottenham he was horrendous. But the lone 6 thing, yeah, do we abandon that? You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Zinchenko in midfield. I actually think he's a better centre mid than some of the guys we play centre mid. But, you know, do you then trust Kivior at left back? So, listen, what is crazy is it's been so long since we had what we believe would be our full strength lineup. I just want to see Partey, Rice, Odegaard against Manchester City next week somehow. But let's see if these guys are back. I'm giving the community hope with that lineup. Yeah, I'll probably get the team out and I'll see Nketiah and I'll see Havertz and I'll see, you know, El Neni in there. It'll be wild, and Jorginho. So who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But yeah, Kev's on next week. I did speak to him the other day and he said he'll be on early next week. So definitely see Kev on here next week. It's a busy week next week. Champions League game Tuesday. Manchester City next weekend. Listen, thank you very much for tuning in, people. In fact, let me go through these super chats. Some of you have sent super chats I haven't read. Young Gunner said, last season was disappointing. Nobody remembers who finishes second. Ultimately, Man City are the ones to outdo. To be the best, you must beat the best. 100%. Ekandir said, Zidane agreed to manage Marseille. Fair enough. He's a Marseille boy, isn't he? So it wouldn't surprise me on that. Thank you for the super chat. The Cone Man said, I ain't going no wish. Stop trying to get rid of me. Big up. And Southern Gooner, big up Matt, said, let's not forget ESR saved the manager's career. He came in at a time when we lacked creativity and we got going and it all improved. So big up to you, Southern Gooner. Big up Golatso as well. Go and follow her on Twitter. She makes some really good Arsenal content and some good merch. Big up to everyone locked in. Big up Banderi, who said, expect Stan Eminem talk from ESR to Arteta. Big up on the super chat. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. I will be live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Arsenal kick off at 3 p.m. tomorrow, UK time. Lock in for the watch along. It is a must that we beat Bournemouth, man, if we got any hopes of catching Manchester City. There's a lot of other games in the Prem tomorrow as well. So it'll be like a Gillette Soccer Saturday special, people. I think there's 7 Premier League games tomorrow. Man United are playing Palace. Man City are away at Wolves. Newcastle are playing as well. Number of games. 2 p.m. tomorrow. Keep yourself locked in. And there's only one place to watch the watch-along, people. Curtis Shaw TV. Enjoy your Friday. See you all tomorrow. And let's hope we go 3-point collecting. Bless.